me scroll down the chat window. So did you say my turn or your turn?
Yeah, it's yours. I just
Okay.
passed it.
All right. All right. Okay, so I'll tell you what. I looked at this a little closer, and you're going to have a really tough time getting that ring dunk with just those few cards that you have left. I'm not saying don't try it. I think it's worth trying, but I don't think you're going to have. We'll see. We'll see.
Is that based on
Well,
what's in my
just
deck?
because it's a one deck game that we're playing, and my deck will run out for sure. If you don't get your ring dunked before your deck runs out, the game will end with you not dunking. It's just the tight. It's a tighter cycle of cards than I'm used to have to see someone have to try to play the one ring and dunk it.
Yep.
So okay,
Because it's an automatic free cancel when we both
correct,
finish our play deck.
correct.
Yep. It's not optional. Yep.
So I have reforged the sword. So it is Narsil is now Anduril, the Flame of the West, and Alatar has Allure of the Senses on him, which means he has a corruption check right now at the end of his untap phase because he is in a haven. He's got 2, 3, 4, 5 corruption points on him.
Yep.
And I'm going to tap Bjorn to give +1. And I'm going to play a friend or 3
Good use.
to give +2 more. So +3 to his roll. So he has a corruption check of 2.
Yep.
Good. All right. Now we need to try to get rid of some of this corruption. Bjorn's Lure of Expedience, he needs greater than a 5, but since he's already tapped, he needs greater than an 8. No. Alatar, he will tap, and he needs greater than a 6. Got it.
Didn't do it again. What's going on there?
There, you got it.
Yeah.
Theoden, down at the end,
Yep.
has a corruption card and a 1 corruption point item on him, so he wants to get rid of that Lure of Expedience. He will tap and needs greater than a 5.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep. Bad.
And I feel like Alatar should do something with that sword that he's got. He needs to run around and kill some things. It takes him up to an 11 prowess.
Gosh.
Um,
This would be the time where we're playing that idea of you've got to go to the dark domains and
right. Right.
shadow lands. Yeah, you could put it to good use and get some dragons.
So instead, he's going to go and just see if we can score some more points here, I think.
Yeah, so normally in a competitive game you would call the free council
Sure.
at the end of this last
Yeah,
turn.
well, I wanted us...
We're just going to play it out and see if I can get the ring.
Exactly. The more I looked at your deck after we traded deck lists, the more I looked at it, the more I realized how difficult it is to destroy the one ring in a one deck game. And especially without having cards from the later sets. With just using the wizards, It's really tough. I could tell how tough it was.
You could see all the resources
Mm-hmm.
are geared towards it. I was thinking, I was sort of vaguely thinking I might have overdone the corruption check enhancers, but yeah, and I think you just need a really good sequence of the card draw.
I want to teach you. I want to teach you to use your sideboard, and I think you'll find. I think you'll find it makes it another dimension to the game. It opens doors
Yeah,
that you couldn't. You couldn't do certain things
yeah,
before.
yeah. I'm ready. I'm
It
ready
changes.
to branch into
Basically,
that.
you've got a progression of your game, and you don't want to get the later in the game cards drawn early in the game. They clog your hand and they mess things up. So you bring them into your deck after you start out and you go through the early stuff. Then you start cycling the sideboard cards in, like the One Ring and the Cracks of Doom. If you have the Cracks of
Yeah,
Doom in your hand when you're opening hand, that's a card you have to hold the whole game.
yeah.
You know?
Well, I tried to offset that with that card that lets you. I forget the name of it. I've got 3 of them that you can go to an information site and draw a card
Oh,
from your
Farsight.
far side. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that was to try and compensate a bit. I haven't actually had to use it because they've all come early.
I gotcha. That makes sense. I didn't think of it that way. But yeah, it's a lot harder. What you're trying to do is a lot harder than what people who try to do that with the full set of cards have to face.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to move both of these companies. I'm just making sure I've got the correct influence out. So I've got 8
Does
free.
Vesta know we're in the card numbering?
Yeah, I think he was just popping his head in to see what was going on. I think it's like about 2:00 in the morning where he is.
Right.
All right. So we're organized. I don't have any long events to play.
So my Wake of War comes off.
Your Wake of War comes off, correct?
If it's changed, I keep. Did you change the hotspot that you can only grab the cards from the top of the card? Because I keep sort of grabbing it too low and having to go a bit higher.
I've actually just started doing it a while back, and I just stayed at the top edge of the card because I've found that that's where it always works.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I've just been trained.
Yeah.
All right. So no cards, long event, movement hazard. Let's move the guys who are untapped and have a chance of doing something first. They're going to stay in Rohan, but they're moving to Edoras from Dunharrow. And you can draw 1. Alatar's the other company. He'll reduce the draw, but for this company you draw 1 and we each draw 1. And you have a hazard limit of 5.
Alright. So I will play a card on guard.
Right.
And no more hazards.
Okay. So discard their site. And now you click next company, right?
Oh, yep.
And then I turn the card over and say we're going to Welling Hall. And since we're moving from the nearest haven, I will just do the /P. And now this with Alatar moving, you get none, but I'll draw 1, and you have a double wilderness to a freehold, and a hazard limit of 2.
And I'll say no hazards.
All right. So I have to go to hand to eyes. Okay. I just read the message over there. I was busy looking at my cards.
Yeah.
All right. So we will enter. I meant to type enter. I'm typing enter. And
So what's the? Just trying to still get this timing right with the on guard card.
so
If
there are three ways to reveal an on guard card.
yeah,
The first is if it is a creature and the site has an automatic attack. When they declare that they're entering the site, you reveal it so they know before they face the automatic attack that they have another creature coming at them after the automatic attack. They have to face
okay,
the automatic attack first, and then they face the creature second. If there is no automatic attack at the site, a creature can't be revealed to attack. You would have to play it during the movement hazard phase. So,
yeah,
so a creature is one type of card that can be revealed on guard. Another is something that modifies the automatic attack. So if it says creates an extra strike or +2 prowess, +2 strikes to the site, whatever, you can reveal that and it will affect the automatic attack at the site.
yeah,
And then the third is where cards themselves specifically say this can be played on guard and revealed when such and such happens.
right,
So there's cards in the later sets that really are the ones that are better played on guard because they hurt the character making an influence attempt, and you don't know who that is during the movement hazard phase until they declare who, if you've got a wizard and a high direct influence character both moving to a site, how do I know who's going to try to bring the faction in? So I play one card called Foolish Words on guard, and then when he declares my wizard is going to make this attempt, you're allowed to reveal the card and it goes right on him and it modifies his influence attempt by -4. So those are cards not so much in the first set in the wizards, but those are cards the ones that are in the wizards are the auto attack enhancers,
right.
like the Awakened Denizens and all of those cards. So like an
Okay,
assassin,
yeah,
if you had an assassin in your hand, that card that you have on guard there would not be able to play because there's no auto attack. So you would have needed to play it during the movement hazard phase.
okay. So, and just another aspect of it. So,
Mm-hmm.
at the moment, I've got two buttons. I've got reveal on guard and possible effect. Are you
So
able to say
you would
when
click.
each of those is used? It's not
I've just
clear
sort
to
of
me
learned
what
it.
the difference is.
I think that when I say that I'm entering, I think if it's not a creature that would reveal, or if it's not an auto attack enhancer, if it's something like a modifier card that goes on a character, or a corruption card that goes on a character, you can play corruption cards on guard, and those can reveal onto a character. That's a great card to play a Lure of Expedience on guard, because the character who gets the item, you put the Lure of Expedience on him, and he makes the check with the Lure of Expedience corruption plus the item corruption. And if he fails it, he and the item go. So a much smarter play to play cards like that on guard, if there is a trigger that you need to know who to put it on.
Yep, yep.
So okay, so they are entering, and Erkenbrand is going to tap to try to bring the Riders of Rohan. I realized that a friend or three that I played to save Alatar on his corruption check would have been better used over here on this faction influence attempt, but we'll see what happens. So he has he has 2 direct influence that he's using to control Wacko, but he has a +2 direct influence against the riders, and he gets plus nothing from on the card, so he needs greater than a 7.
Yep.
No. Okay. So you would now, I'm not entering the other site. So now would be when you would take your, I would go end of turn phase.
And now I get the return on
and
guard.
And you return your on guard.
Select a card to move to your hand. Okay. And, do I have to go down?
So you have to go down to 9. So this is where you go to hand size, and since you're already over, you won't be drawing anything this hand size reset. You'll just be discarding.
Am I going to hand size? So that's part of the end of turn discard, or
I don't know. See, they've got it split up into buttons where these different phases of phases are to sort of acknowledge different things, and I'm not positive exactly how. Some of the things like hand resetting, I don't know which of these spots exactly it's supposed to happen at, but when I push this button that says end of turn discard, it says hazard player needs to get to 9 cards.
Oh, you're trying to get to it. So I'm sort of doing it end of hazard phase, really, but it's happening at the end of the site phase because I had an on guard card, perhaps.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's a way to fix that, or if it needs fixing, or if we just need to remember how the rule works and make sure that we only discard and draw once, or that you're only discarding if you have more cards and you're not drawing. But
okay, so now I'm in end of turn discard.
So
right,
there.
Let me see.
So now I'm done.
Okay. Alright, so I could have done discard, but there's nothing I want to discard, so I'll start the turn.
No, you wouldn't have been able to discard because you had that on guard card that raised your hand size.
Oh, that was my discard. Right, yeah.
At the time of your discard, the on guard card would already be back in your hand, and you would have too many cards to be able to draw any. This is I'll give you the simplest way to remember it. It's a 2-step rule. You may discard a card, and then you go to hand size.
Yeah.
So if you have 8 cards, you may discard a card, and then you go to hand size, which means you draw another card back. If you have 9 cards in your hand, you may discard a card, which you do. That takes you down to 8, and then you go to hand size. You're at hand size, so you don't do anything else. So the 2 steps to the rule are you may discard a card, and then you go to hand size.
So when I discarded...
So when that on-guard card went back to your hand, that was where you were...
end of turn.
Yes, that's where you would be needing to discard 1 card and then go to hand size.
Yeah, because you don't normally discard on the site phase as the
opponent.
So
the only times you go to hand size are at the end of each movement hazard phase, and at the end of the turn, and all of the little nuanced buttons of end of turn, passing end of turn, acknowledging end of turn to this play. I'm not positive how all of the hand size sets hits there. Exactly what time the on guard card is supposed to go back to your hand, or what time you're supposed to have your hand down to its actual hand size. But a lot of times the buttons tell, and I just know, okay, you can't do that twice, or you can't draw if you had more than 9 cards in your hand, or more than 8 cards in your hand, that sort of thing.
Yep. Okay. Right. so I've got Elrond. Oh, so they're all at Rivendell. Elrond's got the scroll. Got Radagast. Sam's got
So
an elven cloak. Frodo's
Frodo,
got an elven cloak.
you held off on
Frodo's got the ring.
right. You held off on testing the ring because you knew that you had a corruption check from the Lure of the Senses at the end of his untap phase, which is now.
Yep.
And you didn't want him to have to make that check with the one ring on him. So he has to make a check. Right now he's got 4 corruption, but he's got a +4, so he's automatic on his check. But you'll want to try to remove that Lure of the Senses before you get the one ring on him.
Yep, okay. So I'll so it's got to be greater than 6, so I tap him.
Yes, tap him. I would definitely tap him.
And greater than 6.
Oh.
Not rolling well.
Well, so it's up to you now. You decide if you're gonna. You've got a wizard's test, right?
Yes.
So you can test it now. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just saying, if I get the ring, that would be 6 plus the cloak. It would be 7.
Move the cloak off him first. You could move the cloak to Radagast.
That off. Yep.
Radagast has a +1 to his corruption checks anyway. So he does not need to make a check to transfer that.
Because it's automatic.
Because it's automatic.
+4. Yep. So I would have 6 plus the lure is 8. He's a +4. So
the lure
unassisted, it would be a 4 corruption check.
There's an extra corruption point in there that you missed that a lot of people miss, and that is on the one ring. If you read the copy on the card, it says sort of towards the bottom, each player in the character gets a +1 corruption point. So it works on the ring bearer as well. So everybody gets 1 additional corruption point. He gets that 1 and another 6. So he's actually carrying 7.
9.
That takes him to 9 exactly.
Yeah, and so with Frodo being +4, that's 5. But I have got a friend or 3.
Mm-hmm.
But that really is just. But when would I actually have to make that check? I'd have to make
Which
it
check?
Next.
Oh, you won't have to make another check from the Lure of the Senses if you are not at a haven when you're untapping. If you move to a haven, the next turn he's going to have to make a check if he's got that card on him.
And if I wait a turn to take the lure off, I'd even have to make the check before I even could try to remove it.
Unless you wanted to move somewhere else first. You've got a lot of options. This is your chance to strategize it out. It's fun. There's a lot of things to think about, and that's typical of how to play a one ring deck. You've got to think about 4 turns ahead of the game.
Yes, I've got 26 cards left. I'm a bit reluctant to just sit here for another turn to attempt to remove the lure.
So
again,
at the very least, you planning your movement out, you've got to go from Rivendell to Lorien, and then you've got to go from Lorien in the early game, in the first set release, and I think for a little while after that, you could go from Lorien directly to Mount Doom in one move. You'd use the starter path movement on the card, and you could get there. And that was normally the way that you did it, and it didn't. That was the rule. That was how to play.
Yeah.
But they started realizing that people got a little bit of an advantage getting there that quickly and that easily from a haven.
Yeah,
So
it
they
sounds a
put
bit
a rule
easy.
in. They put a rule in that said that movement to sites in Gorgoroth, which is where Mount Doom and Barad-dûr are, movement to sites in that region cannot be done by starter movement. It has to. You have to start off in uh, a, a different region and move in through the regions.
Yeah, okay.
So we're not playing that, but what you've got still left to do is to get from Rivendell to Lorien, and then Lorien to Mount Doom. So
Oh, okay. Well,
that's
that
at
makes it
least two
easy. Yeah,
turns.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. But I'll move to Lorien and then try to remove the lure,
right. That's what I would do. You've got to go that way
and play
anyway.
the ring at Lorien. Yeah,
You've got to go that way anyway. And you're not. There's nothing that's going to boost your chances any better that you need to still get. You've got the scroll. You've got the wizard's test. You've got the best ring. Um, it's just going to be a chance of rolling an 8 out of 2 rolls.
yeah. Okay, so I'm just getting the side card, and I'll leave Elrond at.
Oh, well then give the scroll,
Oh
give
no, I
the,
can't do that, can I? Because he's got the scroll.
or you could give the scroll to Sam.
Yes, he's got +3, so he'd still be automatic.
He'd be
Oh, hang
fine.
on. At the moment, anyway, 3 and 1's 4. Once I've got the ring, the one
Mm-hmm.
ring, he'd be 5. But he'd only have to beat a 2.
He'd be fine. I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah. Yep, okay, so I'll transfer that to Sam.
And plus, keeping Elrond in Rivendell lets you hold that 9th card instead. Your hand size is 9 the way it is now. The
Yep.
only reason I would move him, or I would consider moving him, would be having one more character that either adds in a friend or 3 corruption check, or who could tap to support a corruption check.
Yeah.
Because when Frodo
That'd
throws
be
the
good.
ring, when he throws the ring in, when he plays the Cracks of Doom, if there are characters with him that are untapped, they can tap to support him to make his corruption check to win the game. Or they can or you can play a friend or 3 and they get counted towards that extra modifier for his corruption check. But it's your call. There's a reason for him to be it either. Rivendell letting you hold that extra card and keeping the hazard limit to 2 on that company, or moving him with them for those bonuses.
And do it that way. Yeah, I'm going to keep them together.
Okay?
Alright. So, I think that's it for the order. Let me just check. So I have got a stealth to the scout. If it's less than 3, so that's a pity.
Yeah, you again. That would be a vote for leaving Elrond at Rivendell, but
Always there's choices. Yep.
or, well, no, there's too many choices. I don't want to.
Yeah, I've got to make decisions. Yeah. But I've just remembered I have got Bilbo, so I can bring him in before I go.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, my wizard is at the Haven. So,
was he 5-mind?
yep. So what's Elrond got? He's only got 4. Yep. But Radagast, if Radagast took Frodo and Bilbo, then Elrond could take Sam.
Yes, you could do that. Correct. You could
Is
swap.
that just a rearrangement?
Yeah, just swap the do this. Do swap C / swap C. Now click on Sam and click on Bilbo. Now click Done on the buttons on the side.
Oh yeah, yep.
Now click on the scroll and click transfer and click on Bilbo. And then do the same with the cloak.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, and then put Sam, reorganize Sam and put him under Elrond. Perfect.
Great. Which means I've still got 10 free GI.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll put it up, but it doesn't really matter. I'd add 2 for putting Bilbo into play.
Right.
Character points.
Right.
Okay, so I'm organised, and I've got no long event resources to come off, no opponent's hazards, and no new ones to play.
Right.
So I go into movement hazard phase, and I reveal. And because this is hazard to hazard, I can't do the /P because it would show both.
Right. So it
Just
will
going to
be.
do it using the.
It'll be here.
Thank you.
Like that. That's the starter movement. That's what's on the card. So you could move that, and it does not count as you passing through High Pass or Anduin Vales. It only counts by name the first and last regions.
Right.
But more importantly, it just gets you there with one pass.
Okay, so it's.
So I'm going to draw 2.
2 each. Okay.
So hazard limit. And they're all going? Is that right? Or Frodo?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4.
So no longer just the. Yeah.
I think that's the right way to do it, though. That's what I would have done. Oh, and don't forget, you can draw more cards if you need them or if you want them. Moving through the wilderness. So you could draw as many as 5 cards.
No, I don't think I will at this stage.
Okay. Just wanted to remind you of your options.
I'd forgotten.
So
But
I'm gonna
there's
put
nothing I really need.
I'm gonna put Allure of Nature on Radagast. Not a whole lot of corruption. He's got 3, but he's got a +1. So he'll be moving through 3 wilderness, and he'll have to make 3 checks at 2.
Could you play it on Frodo?
Not the Lure of Nature. Lure of Nature can't be played on dwarves or hobbits.
Right.
But it can be played on wizards. That's always a bad card to play on wizards because the wizards are always moving around a lot and they always move through a lot of wilderness. And one bad roll can take them out of the game. All right. I have another one I'm going to play, a Watcher in the Water. So this is being keyed to the double wilderness, and I do not get to pick. Everybody faces 1 at 8, but two of them have cloaks. Look, if you're trying to score the point, you would fight it. You all right? That was my wife sneezing.
I heard it.
Yeah. If you're trying to score the point, you wouldn't use the cloaks, but you're not really. That's not your objective in this game, is scoring points. So, I would consider the cloaks as the first option for those 2 characters. If you can't outright cancel the attack.
Yeah, I've got a concealment, so I think I'll.
All right.
I think I'll do that.
Okay.
So Sam's a scout, so he can do it.
Sure. Any of the hobbits can do that.
So that's 2 out
And
of
that's all I have. I'm not gonna play anything else.
Okay, so I'm at hand size 9. So I go into the side phase, and nothing happens there. And I'll go.
You can just move Rivendell back to your location deck.
Oh yeah.
So Radagast will have his corruption checks
Oh,
unless you tap characters. And there would be no reason not to. I would tap one character for the first check, one character for the second check, and then he has to roll better than a 2 one time on the third check.
okay. Now that
That happens at the end of the movement hazard phase.
Oh, right. Okay, so I'll do that now. Yep. So tap Bulbo, which means
He passes the first one.
so it was 3, but
It
it's
was
only 2. Oh, because
No, he's got a
plus
+1.
Yep.
He's got a +1.
Yeah. Okay,
So he makes
yep.
it automatic. Bilbo makes the first one automatic. Elrond makes the second one automatic. And the third one, he just has to beat a 2.
Okay.
Good.
Yep. Okay. So now I've done my side phase, and I'm going to discard. I can always discard 1.
Mm-hmm. And then go to hand size.
Draw back.
There you go.
And end of turn. Yep. And yep.
I think you have
So
one more
it
button.
says nothing else, but I haven't got the EOT button yet.
Do you have pass to me or anything like that?
Oh, maybe I didn't actually do the EOT discard because that button's still active.
There we go.
Okay, and yep. I must have not pressed that.
There's a lot of buttons.
Yeah, I guess it's to allow for all the possibilities, but it is a bit.
You gotta
get them all right.
Yeah. There are some online games that I play that I actually prefer playing it online because the game knows the rules better and I don't have to remember when there's only options that I can do. I know it's giving me options that are valid where I have to figure them out on my own if I'm playing on a regular board game.
Yeah.
So this is not one of those. This one you still have to really know what you're doing. All right. Bjorn is going to try to remove the lure of expedience without tapping. There he needs greater than an 8. Got it.
Very good. Ah, sorry, that's me.
And that company is moving, but the wizard and Bjorn are staying at Welling Hall. So we're organized. No. So let's do the wizard first. So we have a hazard limit of 2.
Okay, no hazards.
Okay. So we'll go over here and we're moving back after failing to bring the faction in. And it's a 1-1 draw.
Okay, and I've got a wilderness and a borderland. Well, I may as well play these. It doesn't really matter if you get more kill points because you're holding off on the free cancel. So I'll give you some
go ahead.
excitement.
Do you want to tap Dwar?
Unfortunately, I haven't got Wake of War or whatever it was in.
You could tap Dwar and make them a +1. So instead of 3 at 8, it would be 3 at 9. And any more hazards, any more wolf, animal, or does he do spiders too? Yeah, wolf, spider, and animal attacks until the end of turn. I'll get a +1.
Yep.
So we'll Woo, we're gonna fight it. We're just moving back to the haven anyway. We had nothing
Yep.
else to do.
Mm.
So let's face attacks. We'll go to locale 6. We'll do. Let me identify them first. So we'll go. Here. 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 So it's 3 at 9. Those 3 will face it. He's a 1 versus a 9. Got it. That was unexpected.
Yeah.
He's a 5 versus a 9.
Yep.
And he's going to tap the shield just to be safe. So he's a 6 versus a 9. Look at those rolls.
I like it.
I'm not used to seeing that. All right.
So it's the score, isn't it?
Yes, I thought I typed it, but I wasn't on the.
Yep. Okay, and I've got some wargs.
All right. So they'll get the bonus 2. 2 at 10. Yeah, we gotta fight him. I'm gonna save Bard. I'm going to let Shadowfax and Votelli face them.
Using Shadowfax.
Shadowfax as a he can fight in combat.
Yep.
Whoops. So this is Shadowfax. He is a 2 versus a 10.
Yep.
All right. He's got a body of 8.
Okay.
9 or better, and he's gone.
So I've got to
just do a roll.
Yep. I was trying to remember how you type in and what you type in. Is it great? You type greater than what you need.
Right. So he's wounded but not dead. And Votelli.
1, but he's tapped, so he's a Votelli.
Right? Votelli, yeah. So she's a 3 versus a 10. They're not performing well. So her body is a 6. So a 7 or better, and she's gone.
So I suppose I just go typing greater than 6.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's greater than 6. So the wolves didn't eat the horse, but they ate the girl. And I lose a character point from that.
For what it's worth.
Yeah, well, she was a sage. She and Wako are the 2 man sages in this deck. I think there's another. I think Galva might be a sage, but I know these 2. There's not anybody. There's no man sages that are tough. So keeping the 2 of them, at least one of them alive, so that I could get the Anduril and the Reforging played, was key.
Yep.
All right.
So that's your.
So that was 2. I think you still have about 3 more you can play. Oh, you tapped dwarf, so you have 3. You've got 2 more you can play.
Yeah, but I've got no more hazards, but the button's not.
Oh, well, okay.
Available. So I'm not sure why that is.
I'm looking. I don't know.
Don't know
Okay.
why that happened, but anyway, so I'll draw back and go next movement hazard phase. No, I can't draw back because Elrond has left.
Oh, so just go ahead and adjust the max hand size down to 8, and don't worry about it. You don't need to get to it now. Just next at the end of the turn.
Yep. Okay. So next movement hazard phase. Oh, it's
So
saying
now
resolve
you do need to go down
and
to 8.
Yep. Okay.
I'm sorry, you do, because it won't let me push the button.
Oh, I've got an easy one because what did I say? Just the one. Yeah, I can just get rid of one of my stealths.
Oh.
So it's,
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
do you?
I forgot to do my sight phase at Welling Hall, but
I was
I'm
just
not
going to
worried
say,
about
do you
it.
want to do anything?
No, don't worry about it.
No.
We're fine. I'm more interested on what's happening on your side of the table.
Yeah, you've really just sort of done the business. Yep. So I'll go done.
All right.
Start the turn. Untap all. All right. So I'll try and get rid of this.
So Frodo has a corruption check, but he passes it automatically. He's only got 3 corruption points on him, and he's got a +4.
Yep. Okay.
So yes, now in organization phase, you can try to remove both of those.
Frodo taps.
So greater than a 6.
Greater than a 6.
Oh! Here's an idea. Let Bilbo get the ring. Put the scroll on Sam. Bilbo can just organize or transfer scroll to Sam. He could give him the cloak too. Frodo could give Bilbo the ring.
Yep. So it was good that Bilbo came in.
Yeah. And now you've still got that one on your wizard, so I'll leave you to decide how or if you want to try to get rid of that.
Get rid of it. Yep. So he will tap. And so he needs greater than a 4.
Right. Good.
Finally. Okay, so I play my wizard's test.
Cross your fingers.
2 rolls, and the scroll is in the company.
+2 to the roll.
So we need greater than a 8.
You need an 8. No, you need an 8
or
better. So, yep. 2 rolls.
7. Alright, surely this time.
Got it.
Got it, yep.
Got it. Way to go.
So the precious ring gets discarded.
And Bilbo says, I'll show you how to do this. Nice.
I've had a lot of practice carrying this ring.
Nice.
And the wizard's test discards. So, I suppose in theory, I would up the item points by 6.
Sure, why not? Enjoy it.
Not too often you put 6 on. But I think I was
So
reading...
you've got 10 item points there now. Between the scroll and because you didn't increase by 6, you only increased by 5 when you went from the gold ring to the 1 ring.
Oh, that's what it is, yeah.
So, but yes, you've got 10 item points, which is not bad in a regular game. I've only got 7.
You know how we were saying that business about what's considered, just as an aside, that for item points for the free council?
Uh-huh.
And I was saying, oh no, it says only, I think it was major, greater, and something. And you said, oh no, it's everything.
It should be everything. Yeah, when it
I
counts.
think that's something that came in later because I think I was reading when I was looking something at the Littlest Eye.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
In my Wizard's Companion, it's got major, greater, and rings only. So I suspect they
Because there are
changed it.
special items like the Palantir are special items.
Mm,
Those you would think
yeah,
that those would count.
yeah, but I've got a feeling they didn't because it seemed to write it differently in the Littlest Eye.
Uh huh.
Anyway,
I'll check it.
just an aside. So I've done that. So I'm still in the organised phase. And now I've got to decide where I'm going, what's my stepping stone to.
No, you want to go straight there, don't you? Because the rule wasn't in place when we were playing. I mean, if we're playing with the first set, that was not a rule. You could go.
Oh, okay.
You could
You're
go
gonna play
start
that,
a
are you?
movement.
Righto.
Yeah, play it the way it was made. We're not.
You may as
We're
well.
not. We're not playing with the adjustments. That I thought that was our point.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Okay.
So you've got 2 untapped characters to help Bilbo with corruption checks. That would be their key purpose in this last turn. Whatever they do, their most useful thing would be to tap to give him a +1 on a corruption check whenever he has to make it.
Okay, so I'm just wondering. I've got a stealth in my hand. Is there an argument for leaving the 2 tapped guys behind, and so that I can use the stealth?
What I would do is I would swap Frodo and Sam. So do the swap C.
Okay.
Oh, actually, those were the wrong ones. Do you still have the choice to swap characters?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, do Frodo and Bilbo. Swap Frodo and Bilbo. There we go. Okay, and move the scroll off of Sam. Put it on Frodo. He doesn't have to make a check.
Oh, could I have stored that? Do I need?
You could store it, sure.
Elements?
Yeah, go ahead, do that. That's
Yeah.
even better.
Yep.
That's even better. So just /score and click on it, and it will just go over into your pile, and you won't have to worry about the points on it anymore. It has served its purpose, but it still gives 4 points, so that's pretty good too. All right.
So
I would get another Lorien out of my location deck, and I'd put it with Elrond and Frodo.
Yeah, so leave the Lure of Senses and Frodo behind.
Mm-hmm.
And leave Elrond behind because to get down to company size 3.
Right, to get your stealth, to play your stealth.
So you think Radagast is better to go with them than Elrond?
Yes. You'll be able to draw cards for him moving.
Yep. And that
At this point, all you're looking to do, it doesn't matter what hazards you draw, it doesn't matter what other point cards you draw. All you're looking to do is to support a corruption check at the final site. And to keep me from playing creatures or hazards on you on the way there. Right. Okay, so they would not be the first choice to move. I would move the wizard and the 2 hobbits, leave Elrond and Frodo, and Stealth with
Oh
Sam,
yes. Yep. Where's my stealth?
or Stealth with Bilbo.
Stealth with Bilbo.
Because Sam can tap to give a corruption check. Sam is also your only untapped ranger. There's a lot of reasons to leave Sam untapped.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So now just check what I've got in my hand.
That
I've got some good cards in my hand.
that stealth, I think, won you the game. We'll see what happens, but I'll show you what I had.
Okay. So maybe I shouldn't have been discarding that other one because if I
Well, this is the time I've been
if I
holding
didn't have
back.
two.
I've been holding back 2 corpse candles to make everybody in the company make a corruption check. They're very playable. They're very weak, but everyone makes a corruption check before they fight. I had 2 of them, which would have made Bilbo make 2 corruption checks, in addition to his Cracks of Doom corruption check. So the stealth prevents those from being played, and I'm left with a lot fewer options here.
Okay. Alright, so check what I've got here. Yep, so I'm organised. There's no long events on the table. So movement hasn't phase.
Mount Doom, you say? What? Whose idea was that?
Does
So-
it say 9?
No, it says 6. So you mean the number of cards that I draw? It's
Yeah.
the number's upside down. It's meant to be read from across the table when you play them on the table. So you should see it. Your opponent sees a 6 when it's laying flat on the table. But 9, it might as well be 9. So read also.
Yeah.
Any company moving to Mount Doom has its hazard limit modified by +2, and hazard creatures may always be played keyed to the site, regardless of any other cards played.
It says just a /P for the path.
Yeah. And you could draw 5 cards. I would draw all 5. There's no reason not to.
So I've got 1, 2 for the wildernesses
And
plus
3.
the 3.
Right.
Yep. 2, 4, 5.
Okay.
Oh, I've got 1 good card out of it.
I wonder.
Because I have to face the. Oh no, there's no automatic attack.
No, but I'm wondering about that last line on the card, on the site card that says hazard creatures may always be played keyed to the site, regardless of any other cards played. I wonder if that means that stealth won't protect you from creatures keyed to the site.
And you can create the corpse.
And the corpse candles would be playable there, but that's a huge one way or the other.
Well, my inclination reading it is that yes, you can play them because.
Yeah, I just don't want to. I don't want to upset the game.
No, I'm happy. I think that's a very reasonable. I can't see any reason.
Because I've
not
got
to
2 of
interpret it
them,
that way.
and I have held them until you turned the one ring, till you turned the ring into the one ring, knowing that was probably going to be the only way I was going to stop you.
I've got a few options.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'll play 1. So that's keyed to the shadow hold, and it's 1 strike at 7, but before a defending character is selected, every character in the company makes a corruption check.
So I have got a concealment.
All right.
So I could.
Yeah.
Oh, but who can I tap?
Sam would be the one you'd have to do.
And can he tap, or do I need him? Will he need to be untapped?
You would want him untapped for either a river, if I play a river, which requires you to tap a ranger or do nothing during the sight phase, which would mean you'd stall out for another turn. or you would want him untapped to give a +1 to a corruption check. Or
But this is a better use.
yeah, you don't want to have to face any more corruption checks than you need to. Frodo has 7 corruption points. He's got a +4, so he's basically carrying 3. But when he makes that Cracks of Doom check, it's at -4. So it negates his +4.
Yep, alright, well I'll play the concealment.
Alright, so I'll discard this one. And then I play the second one.
Right, now let me see what I've got in my hand to help. I've got a halfling strength, so that would give me a +4 to a corruption check if I want to.
His check right now is not too bad. I would say he's got a 3. He's got to beat. He's got 7, but he's got +4 to his roll, so he's got to beat a 3. If you tap Elrond, you could let him make that check just straight out and just on a.
No,
on
Elrond's not there.
Oh, not there. Right. I'm sorry. I'm I'm being overly optimistic with this company.
I've got a few options. I've got a friend of 3, I've got an old friendship, and I've got a halfling strength up my sleeve. So only one of them will be necessary for the Cracks of Doom, won't it?
You're
It's only
good.
the
You're in much better shape than I thought you were. Play it how you wish.
So what's the hazard limit again? It's
so it increases Mount Doom. Any company moving to Mount Doom has its hazard limit modified by +2. So it would really go up to 4.
2, yep. So I save 1 for the Cracks of Doom.
Mm-hmm.
And that still leaves me 2 enhancers for corruption checks. And there's no guarantee that you've got anything else coming. So I'm inclined to use one of them to completely protect Bilbo.
All right.
So I don't think it matters what order I do them in, does it? I've just got to. The main thing is Bilbo's got to survive. So
the other 2 don't have any check to make. They're both fine.
Oh right. Yep.
He's the only one that's got any check.
Yep. So a friend of 3 might be a good argument because while I've still got the characters in case you kill something.
Mm-hmm.
If you took one of my guys out, the friend of 3 would be less effective.
Yeah.
For every character in the company, whereas the old friendship, I've got a diplomat, so it's going to be a +4, so that's more useful. And I've got a halfling strength, which is also a +4. So I'll use a friend of 3
All right.
to make it automatic.
So he's automatic for the check. Now, because everyone is tapped, I get to pick who it goes after. It's not that tough, but it can go after Bilbo, who has 1 prowess. His natural prowess is 1. The ring gives +5 to a maximum of double what they started with. So it really only gives him another +1. So he's a 2 prowess. Tapped, he's a 1. So he would be a 1 versus a 7. Now he could tap the ring. Bear may make a corruption check modified by -2 to cancel a strike, but this does not work against undead and Nazgul. So he can't cancel his strike. He'll have to face that 1 versus 7.
Yep. Okay. So if he gets
He can
wounded,
he can still destroy the ring wounded. You just don't want him dead.
Okay. Yep.
Nice. So that's a kill point.
Righto. Oh, so score. Yep.
Score it, yeah.
All right. So you still got 2 more.
I have no more. I will hit no hazards.
Okay. so I'm back to 8. So I go into the site phase. Oh, sorry. You doing all that discarding?
Yep.
Site phase. So I just play the Cracks of Doom, I guess.
So you play the Cracks of Doom is right. So you have a corruption?
Do a
You need some fanfare or something.
yeah. It's funny that you don't have an automatic attack there,
Uh-huh.
but it all happened sort of on while they were out, didn't it? So I
Yeah.
suppose it's thematic.
Yeah. So you've got a corruption check modified by -4. So what that negates is his +4 on his card. So he effectively has a corruption check of 7 right now. And then you modify it with your halfling strength and your new friendship.
Old friendship.
Old friendship.
Yep. So the diplomat doesn't have to be untapped. You can
He just has to be in the company.
Skill.
Yep. He just has to be there with them somehow to help the check.
So it's 4 and 4 is 8. So
it's automatic. Oh, it's more than automatic. Yeah. Good game.
Oh, so
and look at that points too.
You're not I didn't win.
You did. You won. You destroyed the ring.
We went through the process to see how it works. That's all we did.
Uh-huh. Well, you see how it works.
Yeah, I saw how it works, but I'm not taking a win for that.
Are you going to let me give it a try?
If you want to. I mean,
we don't have to do it tonight.
It's too hard.
No, I would do it. I would try it. It comes down to the rolls and the draw, really.
I think you'll probably get a better run at it than me. I don't think you'll get a harder run.
All right. Well,
I'd like to see the sword mechanism happening.
Yeah, that wasn't. Well, you see, it's a lot of work. It's nice to have all those points on him, and that prowess is incredible. But I did a lot of work, and I don't have a lot of points over there. There's more efficient ways to score points. So thematically, is it fun? Yes. Does it give an advantage? Yes. Is it worth playing? Probably not.
Not in a tournament.
Not in a tournament, no.
No, not if you're playing for the win.
Not if you're playing strictly for points.